We have to stop seeing ourselves as selling paper and start selling our process. Our presenter today is going to show us how. Steve Nellis is the manager of document services for the county of Ventura in California, supporting 9,000 employees and a diverse collection of government agencies. So will you please join me in welcoming Steve Nellis.
Thank you, Larry. I've been looking forward to this trip for some time, get a chance to speak to my peers. So it says I'm a first-time member here, and I know a lot of my content isn't the first time you've thought about these issues, but I wanted to share with you my story and see what connections that you can make. So Ventura County is a very competitive market, and we've been challenged to diversify our services beyond print, and that includes e-forms. So it's tough out there, and being an implant manager is tough. You know what this guy looks like. He got off at the wrong stop, he a little too much beer at the Castro district. You know, this is a tough day. So you face all this competition, you hear all this pressure. You need to go green, you need to go social media, you have to stop printing paper. There's cloud-based competitions. We just came out of our information about some technology, some virtualization technology. So it's a challenge in our field to keep up with our competition and our own internal poise to handle that competition. And it can beat you down. So our challenge is the challenge that I had is to face this. So the future is, we view print as a commodity, and it's not viewed as green. And the future, the cloud-based technologies are changing up how we host our services as well. And in our market, paper usage continues to decline, and mobile devices continue to will make great capture devices. So the boundaries between paper and documents are blurred, but more importantly, the rhetoric and the tone within my organization was increasingly viewed where if you're viewed as a print shop, the problem was, people tend to shop around. So I have two customers. I have my direct customers, like you, that you work with every day. You deliver those on-time services every day. But then I have another audience. It's my boss's boss's boss. It's the people that influence my budget, the people that are attached to enterprise decisions at the state and local level that really affect my enterprise applications. Things like healthcare, Medicare programs, assessor property tax systems. These are my anchor customers, and they are on this rhetoric track of go green, reduce your consumption. And so we have this branding, this imaging problem, this damaged perception of technology. And my problem was, if we were viewed as a print shop, it limits what we can do. And we are a full-service document provider across any channel. I don't care if it's paper, your phone, an email, however that document is best distributed and communicated, that's the space that we want it to be. So thankfully, despite our managers' beleaguered tiredness, we had this vision. So we had this vision that our group came up with, and we said, hey, we're going to be of value to the customers. Every day we're going to work hard, we're going to succeed. We're going to leverage the best tools that we can. We're going to commit to sustainability. So our entire agency, our entire county of Ventura embraced this. So I was able to take this language that was adopted at the highest senior management levels and use that to my advantage. So this was the evolution. The first place we started was to change our vocabulary, to change our branding. I don't work for a print shop. I work for a document technology company. We're a service company. When I checked into the hotel, hi, I'm Steve Nellis, where are you from? The very nice lady at the desk, she says, well, you're here for the print show. Am I? Is that what I do? And I respect print. I've got a 401k, it's helped pay my mortgage, I've been in the business for a while now. I respect it, it's how we communicate. But if technologies exist that can deliver the documents more efficiently, that's a space that we have to be in. So we took this vision and we applied it. So we do not focus on output. I am not a printer salesman's best friend. You know, we focus on doing more work in less time with less people. We went through this recessionary hit, and like any private enterprise, we had to do more with less folks. So we had to become more efficient. So adapting web to print tools, adapting content management systems was not only a way to be more efficient for our customers, we had to survive with our volume. We had to go home at the end of the day. So I think implants are in a great position to deploy technology, however, because we're used to that hard work. So the rhetoric and the vocabulary with my customers it's not paper. It's people's time we're trying to save. We're trying to move information. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a process improvement meeting at the county, and my county's awesome, I love them, but you have a department manager giving their performance improvement debrief, and they're going through their hard savings or soft savings, and they'll say, and we saved two cases of paper this year, you know? And I'm thinking, you know, so that you have this image of, wow, they saved 2 cases of paper. And I'm thinking to myself, don't dumpster dive me, because we probably burned through 2 cases, and I hope we tracked it. You know, that's another session. But so I was just frustrated because there's this focus of saving paper. I grew up in Minnesota, it's a row crop. But I'm not going to fight that battle. It's really about moving information and making people work more effectively. So we focus on process, and that return on workflows is the next step for my organization. So how did we begin? We changed our vocabulary beyond print. We had to get the capital to have the platform in place. We talked to our customers, of course, and we deployed some ROI stories, and we created some vendor partners. So we expanded our brand and our breadth of our offerings. A print shop focuses on output. How much can I make? How many widgets can I get out? A document center focuses on the entire life cycle. And this has been influential for me, and I know for all of you as well. We create it, we manage it, we distribute it, we archive it. And unlike our competitors, when we talk to a client, we're not so much interested in the price, and we want to know how this document is used by end users. Is it shared? Do you have to archive it? Is there a legal requirement? So by walking that through, you start to own the touch points and deliver service across all of those areas. My customers, like yours, tend to focus on the cost per document. No one's price shop more than me, I'm telling you. So we take a look at, of course, this is that operational wing across that y-axis in the presentation we just heard. But there's a strategic wing as well, and that's where we want to be viewed, where we're helping our customers share information, we're reducing their risk, and we're making the county and their customers just seem competent. It's really important when you work for the public sector, as I do. So, in the document, what this slide demonstrates is you do need some capital investments. The blue zone here is you have to have a design component. The green zone here is there's the creation and output paths that we're really familiar with. And then the orange here is data. And that's all these different channels that customers and enterprises are using to move information. So you have XML from web services, you've got web service content, SOAP calls, databases, flat file dumps, and you have to have connectors or intake sockets to handle all that information so you can connect your documents to business programs, to enterprise applications. Maybe it's a property tax system, a healthcare system. If you attach yourself to the data, you have the volume to support the capital and the staffing you need to be successful. And that's where the volume is, and that's where the mojo is. So that's the bloodline of a document services company. Just another way to view it. There's intakes. You index and manage content. You start building processes. You have end users. So we have a full content management system at the county that we manage for our clients, which includes meta directory and LDAP integrations, group rights. So it's not output, it's finding documents and then distributing them. This is a quick story of our hospital. The healthcare market is just amazingly busy. There's so much demand for services there. And I have staff folks that are now working directly within the hospital for me. They're meeting with doctors and nurses, they're on forms committees, and they're involved in these huge EHR, electronic health record programs, and a lot of work going on. So in this, it's a little blurry here, but we've organized documents across doctor's orders, inpatients, and so now using a content management system with the power of search, folks can find what they need really fast. So we've been doing this for years now. We have subscribers to our system, our content management system. They can view it, they can share it. If they want to order content or a packet or a form, there's a shopping cart, a web-to-print connection here. So we're doing all the version control, all the operational standards in the document lifecycle, but more importantly, we're keeping them compliant, we're reducing their risk. So we're feeling pretty proud about ourselves. And but we got this problem. Here's the big buzzkill here. There's technology is always changing, and when you work in the public space, if you're not tapped into the enterprise level decisions, they really can catch you off guard. So we're doing this great job. Our customers at the hospital and the healthcare system love us. But check this out. So we're managing over 1,000 documents, and then over the last couple of years, because of the Affordable Care Act, all these different movements, they're doing this EHR issue. So these forms are migrating to a different application. I used to own them. I created them, I hosted them. Not only did I distribute them, but I owned them. We had them in our own system. Our customers, paid me to give them their content. So now this technology comes in, and hey, we need your content, we need to migrate you away. Okay, so the first thing we did is we had to say, let us help you with that. You can't beat them, join them. So we put staff in to help with this Cerner migration that the hospitals have. But that's definitely affecting my print sources. So don't panic. You have to evolve. I really love this graph, and I hope you do too. So getting back to the document lifecycle, you can create, you can produce, you manage, you distribute. We used to run a warehouse with inventory items and envelopes and God knows what, and we used to take up just shelves and material. All that's gone. Everything's print on demand, and a lot of those forms are now hosted in pure electronic format because it makes more sense, it's easier for the user. There's data, there's archives. So can declining print volumes be replaced by other product offerings? This is a cylinder. It's empty. That glass is definitely half empty and it's going down, right? But so the Cerner migration, you've got some, in a lot of different scenarios, you're losing revenue across these channels. But there's tremendous opportunity to evolve into creating documents, to building workflows, to managing data. And it's influential to me to think about the documents and my customers across these channels. I'm not going to be building any warehouses, but I can build workflows. Make sense? So we're not blind. We have to survey and ask our customers, hey, beyond traditional print and document services, what are you interested in? So we survey our customers, and interestingly, this green bar, the big one, hey, people want e-forms. All right. So we thought they would. So in e-form, you have the opportunity to replace paper-based forms with online systems so they can submit and trigger workflows. 75% of business processes depend on forms. That's all I needed to know. There's my volume to replace declining print. Workflows. Another view. A designer creates a form, you host it on the site, you publish it, anyone can have access to it at any time. You can search for it, you can manage it, you can build content rules. It's a smart document. All kinds of benefits. You're reducing paper supply, you're going green, you're improving your customer satisfaction, and you're controlling the security of documents as well, which can be a really big issue in healthcare fields and personnel records, any type of discrimination cases. We do quite a bit of law enforcement cases. So now we can control the access and have an audit trail, and that's important to our clients as well. So the advent of mobile devices and technology makes it far easier for me to distribute my documents. I can move documents easier and more faster and more conveniently through these devices than I ever could with print. And as a document professional, that's really exciting for me. So where do you begin with this? You know the demand is there. Clients want it. But it's complex. There's a lot of documents out there. So what we do is we schedule a meeting. Our voice cracks, then we recover from that. And we just interview them. We just need to talk. And a great advantage that the implants have is you've built some credibility and trust. They want to talk to you. So you just go in and you walk the process. You walk around the hallways for a while. So you interview your customers. And then you do an inventory of all their documents. And you just start to group and affinitize them. These are HR documents. These are fiscal documents. Different categories across their business. Then you begin to assess and rank them. What's the volume of these documents? What's the level of effort to get this done? And what you'll find is there are different levels of e-forms. There's different levels of forms. Some are very simple, almost a copy or a clone of a paper-based document. But other forms are very complex, because they need to have rules and dynamic abilities to grow and shrink, or they have workflows attached to them. So at the end of the day, you choose some pilots. You just need to choose something to get started with and have your customer on board to help you with that. I think that focusing on routing and regulatory compliance, focusing on risk, is a great place to begin. Now this is a pretty wonkish group here, so I'm going to try to hang with this slide here. I'm trying this out. I'm going to back into this one. Okay, so this is my document life cycle this is a timeline from creation to archive. And then you have this volume. This ECM sphere here, this is the data. That's all that enterprise data, human resources, CRM stuff, that's where all this volume is. So the documents, what the red dots represent, is like the initial start point. This document's created that touches the first event. And then things go on. And then towards the end of this cycle, there becomes this little blip of demand again. Hey, Steve, remember 2 years ago you had that inappropriate conversation? Well, we got to pull up your paperwork. Well, in most organizations, you can't pull up the paperwork. You can't find it. So that, even though it's not a high volume document and it's not touching a lot of your customers, that document touches your boss's boss's boss, because they don't want problems. And now you've got this risk compliance of maybe it's an HR issue, maybe it's a medical issue. And in my county work, there's a lot of oversights of audits by regulatory agencies. So they come in and they say, I need to see what? I need to see how many traffic accidents you had in parking lot C last year. Okay, terrible example. But that creates so much pressure for senior management. And if they don't have that data, it makes them appear, incompetent's too strong of a word. They're very competent, but they just don't have that data. And if you've ever been audited, it's very stressful. So to be able to provide that document is a real selling point. It's a good place to start automation and workflows. So that document's been dead for a long time, but then it comes into man. If you take on an enterprise level application, this is a Kaizen event that we hosted, go for it. Just, you're going to have to manage a big team, and you have to translate all this workflow into code. And the problem with that big event is, if you're anything like me, I'm still learning these tools and I'm learning these platforms. And if you come up short, you're really going to leave it's going to leave some disappointment in your customers' perceptions of you. So what we do is we're learning how to do this. We learn, we deliver, we get good. So what I'd like to talk about next is some of the tools and software and skill sets that I personally have learned and tried to develop to move into e-forms and electronic distribution. Okay, so tools map and transform our workflows and process into data. In order to move into digital workflows, I've had to learn some new skills. Flow charting, value statement mapping, very important, and getting comfortable with processes. At the end of the day here, I need to be able to tell a software engineer or a programmer what to do. They need to be told what to do. And these tools help you get there. So flow charting is important, scripting is important, getting your feet wet on some database design, and then the collection and display of data. In the middle of all this is the user experience. And this is one of the great value adds that the graphic community, the professional community can bring into this. Because we don't lose sight. It's easy for IT and other consultants to get lost in data, to get lost in the details. But it's always about the user that first finds this document and submits it and uses it. So here's an example of a customer that's really washed out on the screen. But here's a customer. Let's sit down with a yellow piece of paper. Tell me about your workflow. And what you find is your customers don't really know what their workflow is. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. So you have this opportunity as a business consultant to really roll up your sleeves and start mapping out the workflow. Little Boolean statements and loops and what happens here. Where does it go after that? So now you're walking through that document life cycle. You're building this little SIPOC chart of your inputs, your supplies, your outputs, and you're mapping this out. And this map becomes translated later into a workflow engine. And the workflow engine is a piece of software that's moving that document to users based on rules-based routing. But before you get lost in the tech, you have this great opportunity to work with your customers to simplify. And we've been really influenced at our county by some Lean Six tools and process improvement tools. They're not new, but it's essential before you start to not replicate a broken or complicated process. So we always try to simplify. We reduce touch points, we reduce waste, and we try to eliminate all those non-value added steps. It's very important that we always frame that in our head when we're working with our customers. And the great thing about an e-form, to return to the product at hand, the fundamental thing that an e-form does is it leapfrogs waiting in motion. So where a paper document needs to physically move from point A to B, an e-form is instantly transmitted and instantly found. So if I have a vacation request form, or I need you to approve my IPMA travel receipts, when I submit that document, it's in your in-bin as a task. So there's no waiting and delay for that. And that's a great benefit across a workforce that's increasingly stressed with the amount of work they need to perform. So here's an example of keeping it simple. This is a routing slip that my ambulatory care and my hospital system use, and you can see I'm scratching some things out. You sure that needs to go there? Does this need to go to the director of ambulatory care? Does this need to go to the nursing chief? And then these folks are changing all the time as well. So we really try to focus. What's the nice thing about workflow tools we focus on giving a user group access as opposed to daisy chaining and putting, you know, putting chains on people of process steps. So you build a workflow. You can design it in Visio or a workflow map, and then you start moving it into code. So behind every form is a process, and behind the process is this workflow. And so these tools help visualize your workflow. So it's fun. You take your flow chart, your value stream map, and you start using some modeling software to build your rule. And then when your form hits an in-bin, it starts going through the system. Pretty neat. So we've turned that in-bin into a virtual in-bin. And what this does is, we're not a print shop anymore, right? So we lost the paper. You lose the paper and you collect the data. And that's exciting. So now you have this form, and this event is security events for a COO of an agency of ours. They used to track security events and manually into this traditional kind of Excel-based sheet, right? Well, assuming you can find your Excel sheet, assuming you can interpret that, you know, what does that tell you? But now that we transform the data into a visual display, this is much easier to read. So, for her, for my COO, if she increases staffing or she sees a trend, hey, there's a lot of break-ins in this lot, they put in some lighting, they adjust some staffing, she can see some changes to her action. So that is exciting because, and this is a radical notion, now I'm not a print shop manager, I'm a think shop manager, right? I'm improving the quality of thought. I'm improving the way that people work and the way that they make their decisions. So now, people, what do you do for a living? I help people think, right? So we're displaying data to help people think. That is really exciting for us. And eForm is just a very efficient way to capture information and data. So now we have a tool set, a new tool set in our document portfolio, and that is data extraction and web presentations. So we've created this form. It's a capture tool, right? Even if we don't own the business application, even if we don't own the data, but we have this form, and every time this form is submitted, every field on there, we can put that data into a database, in a column. We extract that out, and now it's in the database, and we can work with our customers. How do you display this data? I'm not sure. Can I help you? Can we build some queries? We'll even do it offline in Access or something. Let's take number of accidents per year, accidents by type, you know, accidents by location. And then, so now you're helping your customer think. And later on, when the regulatory group comes in, because they're mandated to track some sentinel or critical events, right? So now they can report to that. So this is a true story. My director of nursing gets a call from, you know, the director of healthcare. He's the guy, right? He's the boss. And hey, I need to understand how many falls we've had in this hospital campus last year. No problem, sir. So that patient safety is critical to their mission, but now that this gentleman's got to work very hard to pull that data up. He's reaching for binders, he's talking to staff, and you know how it is. I mean, God bless him, but the boss comes down and he asks for it at 4 o'clock on a Friday, so you just made this guy's weekend a little tough. So now, even though in this eForm example of security events, by collecting that data and making it accessible and reachable, I just made this person's life a lot easier. That's a big win, right? So you're focused on results, you improve the quality of thought, and it's an exciting place to be. So what we're doing now is we're modeling data as a subscription service, and we're charging our clients to help them display their data. Okay, a key takeaway for me and my experience is coming back to the user experience. And it starts with creation. And I'm really challenging my document design team. I have an amazing group of folks that work with me. And they are so talented. They have this ability to synthesize people's thoughts and to balance and color and to design. And that's this role that IT folks have trouble with. They just don't have any style. And they don't have a sense of making this document pretty and making it easy to use. So I've been challenging my design team to say, if you want to take your skill set to the next level, learn how to integrate your forms with data. Learn how to make things dynamic. So we're giving them the tools and the training and investment to do that. But I could not get into business process workflows without a talented team of designers. It's a real key differentiator, a real key, you know what I mean. Yeah. All right. Okay, so another example of the power of an e-form. It's just much more simple and accurate. Don't replace your paper-based form. Don't replicate it one-to-one. Because what you'll find is that whole section that says for office use only, or that whole section, there's all kinds of meaningless information that's never used. Kind of follow that 80-20 rule, right? 20% of that form is probably about 80% of what you need. So that what these red marks, they show is like just eliminate some steps. Because now that you tie into data, you can automate the form to make the user experience so much better. So when I talk to my designer, make this form snap. Okay, you come into, let's say it's an HR form, or you have to do this benefit enrollment form, and you have this big section about gender. Well, if you clicked on your male, hide all the female stuff, right? So you start making these very dynamic forms that are fun to use, right? So in this example, this grid over here, there's a series of locations of where you're at. But if I know your employee ID and you enter it, I already know where you're at. So all of a sudden I'm populating information, and your speed of submitting this form is exponentially faster than what a paper-based form ever was. And that's customer satisfaction really improves, and you get better data collection because you're able to populate real values in. And now, if you have data, all these become searchable in a content management system. So eliminate the clutter, okay? And you can't do this type of exciting document design within a paper environment. But if we're document professionals, this is very exciting. This is where you want to be. So the next step is, now that we have this document in this vector-based format, now we can repurpose it how the customer wants it. So we really want to be multi-channel. If you want it through the mail, we can handle that. You want it through email, we can do that. You subscribe to a mobile device, you can do that. So now we're moving into this design for mobile. It has some challenges, because that's why you really want to keep your forms as simple as possible, because you lose all this real estate. So you start kind of extending it across this long y-axis of length here so you can scroll it. So this is an example of the same form, but things are just going in a vertical presentation now. So, thinking about the document lifecycle, this is a security form, and I'm a security officer patrolling the County of Ventura's campus, and now I'm coming across, and you've left your dog in the car or whatnot, or there's a break-in. I can fill it on-site and submit it. Again, we've eliminated that transportation and that waiting delay, and we're already acting upon it. And I can take a picture of it and store that. And then 6 months from now, if the good citizen comes back and wants to sue me, now I can find the document, and we have a notice of that. That's pretty neat. Okay, so you still got to charge customers for this, and they're not happy about that. So you still have to focus on building an ROI for them. And in this ROI snapshot, the county has kind of a template of how they like process improvements reported out. And again, we use that vision or that mission of improvement and we turn it around and use it to our advantage. So in this case, we capture both a soft savings and a hard savings, and we build the metrics for a business case. And once you show some value, some savings to the customer, it's just psychology. It's a lot easier to charge them for your services. Customers will pay for productivity. Those senior managers, the managers that are focusing on building teams and distributing work, if you can get their employees to focus on their core responsibilities, they're going to be really receptive to that. But this is still a little bit of a tricky form to read. So I want to share with you today kind of where I'm going with this data collection. And so I was thinking, okay, my customers and my management are always saying, demonstrate your value. How do I know you're succeeding? Are you contributing to the bottom line and to the vision of our group here? So we want to build this value dashboard. It's a simple equation. I liked the gentleman the other day with the Canon presentation. He showed his revenue bar chart, and then he showed a savings bar chart, and he juxtaposed those two. That's cool. That's right on the track. So we can lower people's labor costs, we can remove manual steps, but how do I display that? So I had this idea. What is that? It's a drinking fountain, okay? What's the connection to graphics? All right. Let's see if I can do this. So the drinking fountain is a much aligned piece of technology. People used to use it all the time, but now bottled water's everywhere. So this little guy has two options. You can drink from it, old-fashioned style, or you can put your water bottle up to it, right? Because we're going green, so it's important to save the earth and stop using plastic bottles. It's an inefficient delivery system. But up here, it's got some codes up here. This is kind of interesting. See if you can hang with me. This says, hey, it tracks the volume of water, and it's calculating how many times you've reduced waste in a landfill. So you take this old style water, and then now it's got a metric. It's got this odometer on it. And I thought, that's pretty cool. I like that. So while I'm working hard at work getting my water, I'm like, I want a clicker for e-forms. That's exactly what I want. So I said, I want to go build it. So they know, my audience knows I'm going into e-forms, but now we're going to put a tracker on that. So what we did is we built a SQL database, and every form captures every field, and now we have the ability to publish out as a URL a link where my customers will have permissions to a site where they can download their data at any time. In addition to that, I'm going to have a global dashboard so I can chart year-over-year growth of my e-form deployments and my process savings. So I want to take the quantity of my e-forms, and if I can calculate hard and cost savings for that, I can dynamically and automatically display a value report to my customers. Because I don't have a lot of time to do this, so I wanted to think about a way that I could automate that data display. And this is pretty new for me, and I'm really excited about it. So, and this base will allow us to display data as a service. All right, so you're implant managers. Maybe I say the best slide for last, right? So this is some revenue goals. The title of my presentation was Moving Beyond Print, Diversifying Your Revenue Stream. So in this blue shading here, we have some relatively brand new services: document design revenue, managed business process management workflows, e-form services, document management licensing. So all of these are new revenue streams that support the capital investments we've made. And now that I can report e-form growth or productivity savings, it becomes much easier for my budget team, for my budget analysts to approve and support my increased funding requests for technology. Because we're not a print shop, we're a technology company, we're a service company. So it's a lot easier for them to greenlight my capital requests or my staffing requests once I can demonstrate that. Of course, we still track the operational efficiencies of on-time percentages and print output and revenue per employee, things of that nature. Okay, so just a quick recap. With an electronic form, you're reducing paper consumption, you're improving your data accuracy, you're automating processes. That's the next step, in my opinion, for our document group, is we're moving as fast as we can into workflow engines. Any tool, any method that helps our customers design workflows, that's where we want to be. And if we do that, we're going to unlock and generate new revenue streams. Okay, so what's next? We've had some successes, and we have to keep advancing, so I have to hire some more folks. And the job requirements for my next wave of employees, their qualifications, they look a lot more like technology folks than traditional print folk. So now that when I grab a designer, I'm challenging her. Tell me about your integrations with databases. Tell me about your ability to go mobile. So that's exciting. Anytime you can bring in new talent, and if you have the opportunity to do that, that's exciting. So we want to increase our deployment pace. I need to move the deployment away from me and to my team. And we want to monetize this and go mobile and just get more comfortable with these platforms. Okay, so we're facing the future, and the future is uncertain, and you're always challenged to move faster than we're comfortable with. And not all of these technologies and RFD tags and this or that's going to work for you, but we do know for certain that these technologies open up great opportunities for digital document workflow. And as a professional in this industry, it's very exciting for me, and it's kind of re-energized my outlook for my job. So we're focused on automation and efficiency, and when I do that, I get to work directly with my customers. I'm not isolated, and that brings some satisfaction to us as well. So we're focused on service, and if I can get half of this done, maybe that beleaguered-looking guy looks a little happier at the end. So. Thanks. I really appreciate your time. Despite a few stumbles over here, I was glad I got out of the shop and got to talk to my peers. And I'd be interested in your thoughts and any questions that you may have.